Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2025, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 77 years of independence and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Arts, Sciences and Wellbeing, also commemorating Viksit Bharat in 2047. Before we start our sessions and commemorations, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations. Today, we are commemorating American Indian Citizenship Day, which is celebrated every year on June 2nd in US. So American Indian Citizenship Day is observed on June 2nd. It was on this day, 1924, that the Indian Citizenship Act by Congress gained citizenship to all American Indian born in the US. The day celebrates the history, heritage, and culture of American Indian tribes across the country. All the tribes have their own traditions and beliefs. American Indian Citizenship Day celebrates their contribution to the country's culture and a reminder of their enduring legacy. Since the drafting of the US Constitution, American Indians were in a unique spot. Article 1 of the Constitution stated that Indians not taxed do not fall under violating population of America. American Indians were also part of the Dred Scott Decision of 1857. The Dred Scott Decision was a ruling by the US Supreme Court that declared that living in free territory did not entitle Dred Scott, an enslaved person, to his freedom. However, in July 1868, the 14th Amendment overturned the Dred Scott Decision and made anyone born in the US citizens with equal protection and process under the American law, and yet interpretations of this amendment excluded American and Indians from US citizenship. The 1870 census showed that the estimated population of American Indians were more than the population of 5 states in 10 territories. Yet 92% of the American Indians were not legible citizens. It was the Dawes Act of 1887 that gave conditioned citizenship to American Indians. So before the Civil War, citizenship was limited to those American Indians which had less Indian blood. During the Reconstruction period, granting of citizenship to American Indian tribes was sought after by the Republicans in Congress in 1888. American Indian women who married US citizens were given citizenship. The American Indian World War I veterans got their citizenship in 1990. Finally, it was in 1924 that all American Indians were conferred with US citizenship as a result of Indian Citizenship Act. During this time, almost 1,25,000 out of an estimated 3 lakh of the American Indian population did not have citizenship. Today is also commemorated as America the Beautiful Week in the United States. America the Beautiful Week is marked in the first full week of June to honor the song America the Beautiful and celebrate all patriotic Americans. This year it is held from June 2nd to 8th. This revered song was composed by Catherine Lee Bates and organist and choir master Samuel Award. The song was a top contender for the United States official anthem and favored over the Star Spangled Banner, but later was chosen as a national anthem in 1931. This week is also commemorated as Canadian Environment Week from June 2nd to 8th in Canada. During Canadian Environment Week, observed from June 2nd to June 8th this year, our ecosystem is taking the front seat. This week celebrates Canada's environmental achievements as well as placing the spotlight on our natural and precious resources, possible issues, preservation, and conservation techniques. It was established by Canadian Commons. So this week, Canada is placing its focus as one of the most important issues we are dealing with in humankind, the issue of climate change conservation and preservation. It is Canadian Environment Week, and although this day is particular in Canadians, it is encouraged worldwide. Environmental movements such as conservation and environmental politics have been a priority ever since the Romantic era. These movements are all about addressing environmental issues and encouraging sustainability practices. We are encouraged to protect the environment and our ecosystem through small individual habitual changes and public policies and enforcements. Early awareness of issues concerning the environment began in the early 19th century in response to smoke pollution during the Industrial Revolution. Britain's Akali Act was passed, becoming the first large-scale modern environment law. It regulated the air pollution caused by the production of soda ash. Conservation practices, this, as we know them, began in India at the Madras Board of Revenue, headed by botanist Alexander Gibson. He headed the management of state forests by adopting forest conservation programs. This ultimately led to establishing the first permanent and large-scale forest conservation program in the world, which was soon adopted by other colonies and the United States. Environmental protection societies began to appear in the late 19th century, most of which were concerned with air pollution. By the 20th century, efforts to save wildlife became common, as well as causes against the destruction of forests and other natural resources. Canadian Environment Week was created in 1971 by the Canadian Commons to make Canadians aware and concerned about climate and pollution issues facing the environment. It is intentionally observed on the week of June 5th, coinciding with Clean Air Day on June 2nd and World Environment Day on June 5th. Today is also commemorated as Food Safety Week from June 2nd to 8th this week in UK, which is a week-long annual celebration observed in the same week as World Food Safety Day. And this year it will be marked on June 2nd to 8th. Food Safety Week was celebrated for the first time in 2019 to raise awareness and the foodborne illness and encourages people to adapt food standards to avoid these diseases. Food safety is the handling, cooking, and storage of food in the best possible way to prevent foodborne illness. Some food safety principles include regular washing of hands and surfaces, separating raw and cooked food, cooking meals at the right temperature, and preserving food at the temperature of 40° Fahrenheit and below. Foodborne diseases are not a modern problem and have existed for hundreds of years. The first recorded case of foodborne illness can be traced back to Alexander the Great in 323 BC in the West. According to the historical records, the ruler died from typhoid fever caused by Salmonella typhi. Ancient Egyptians, Greeks, Chinese, and Romans were known to have employed preservation techniques and food labeling for food safety reasons. With the commercialization of production, states introduced food safety, sanitation, and hygiene legislation. The first of these appeared in the 13th century. In 1202, the Assize of Bread and Ale law was instituted to prohibit the adulteration of bread using ingredients such as ground peas or beans. In 1266, the UK Parliament banned unwholesome food. The American colonists enacted the same law as Assize of Bread in 1646 and later passed the Massachusetts Act against selling unwholesome provisions in 1785. So the later was introduced due to high rate of unadulterated food sold in Canada and the US. In the 19th and 20th centuries, the number of food safety and sanitation legislations passed worldwide significantly increased, that is attributed to the rise in foodborne diseases and deaths globally in early 1900s. After World War II, there was more public interest in food safety and people began calling on governments to introduce more robust and good standards and regulations. During the mid 20th and early 21st centuries, a plethora of laws were established in the US, including the Poultry Products Inspection Acts, the Fair Labeling Act, the mandatory use of HACCP for low acid canned foods, for Toxic Substances Control Act, and the US Food and Drug Administration FDA Modernization Act on December 20, 2018. The United Nations General Assembly adopted a resolution to proclaim June 7th as the World Food Safety Day. Today is also commemorated as National First Ladies Day on June 2nd, which is celebrated every year. This day recognizes and applauds the unique role America's leading women played in serving the nation. From actors and artists to scholars and activists, women have occupied this role, each shaping it uniquely. The role of First Lady is both flexible and constraining, granting the opportunity to make a change and a high degree of public scrutiny that is often rather critical. It is a difficult job with no rule book or formal procedure, but with great cultural and political significance. The role of First Lady started in 1789 with Martha Washington, the wife of the first US President George Washington. When America was all very new to the office of president, she had the task of defining the role of First Lady. It's important to note that social norms were antiquated at this time and women were homemakers rather than leaders. Gender equality was not yet a concept. As such, many of the early First Ladies' roles were that of hostess and homemaker. It wasn't until the mid 1940s that the role of First Lady began to expand into more than its early foundations. First Ladies like Lou Hoover and Eleanor Roosevelt took an active role in the presidency by speaking at press conferences and weighing in on current affairs. Best Truman even worked as President Truman's aide with no salary, but the 1960s First Ladies realized that despite lacking a formal office and mandate, they could still use their position and press to promote public relations for the president and push for initiatives that would help the American people. Claudia Johnson actively campaigned for the husband, Lyndon B. Johnson. Jacqueline Kennedy used her media savviness to demystify the White House. 1986, First Lady Nancy Reagan, a former actress, launched an anti-drug campaign using television commercials. Hillary Clinton used her visibility as First Lady in the 1990s to launch a successful political career, becoming the First Lady to run the president. Today, the role of First Lady is more about policy advocacy and women leadership, and they exert a lot more influence than in the past. Today is also commemorated as National Leave Work Early Day on June 2nd for those who find yourself living to work instead of working to live. This annual day was founded by employee productivity expert Laura Stack in 2004 to raise awareness of the benefits of increased workplace productivity If the holiday falls on weekend, the day is celebrated on either Friday, June 1st or Monday, June 3rd. The purpose of National Leave the Office Early Day is to demonstrate how making small adjustments in the way we approach our work greatly improve the results of our work, allowing workers to become more productive while in the office and spending fewer hours in the office. If you find yourself putting in 10, 12, or even 14-hour days at work, you are not alone. National Leave Work Early Day founder Stack, best known as the Productivity Pro, and the author of the book Leave Your Office Early, found that we Americans work hundreds of hours more each year than our European counterparts. Other studies by employment agencies and consulting firms confirm that American 8-hour workday has become somewhat of an urban legend. Longer work hours do not equate to more and better work, but they do increase worker fatigue and burnout. So technologies like computers, the internet, smartphones, and Wi-Fi have added to workload by allowing employees to extend the workday beyond customary business hours. Rather than walking out of office on time for an evening of rest, relaxation, and renewal, many of us end up working another 2, 3, or 4 hours at home, in addition to the 8 hours in the office. Many of us just stay in the office those additional hours in a vain attempt to find some solace from work when we do arrive late in the evening. The stress of juggling family and work schedules, long commutes, deadlines, and spending long hours in the workplace not only zaps energy and endangers our health, but it also robs both employees and employers of the joys and rewards that honest work should provide. All work and no play is proven recipe for disaster, but one that can be avoided to the benefit of both employer and employee. Happy workers are productive workers, and greater productivity means greater profits and rewards for all. You want more time outside hours to enjoy with family and friends or pursue hobbies and activities you enjoy. National Leave Work Early Day would be just the reboot. You and your workplace need to restore greater work-life balance to the benefit of all. Hopefully, leaving the office today, have accomplished your work in less time, will give you and your employer a taste of what you have been missing. Today is also commemorated as National I Love My Dentist Day in US, which is celebrated worldwide on June 2nd. This day is specifically dedicated to dentists from all over the world for all fantastic work they do to keep us smiling. National I Love My Dentist Day is celebrated to show your love for your dentist. This day is a symbol of appreciation for all dentists and their lives. The earlier mention of dentistry as a medical profession dates back to Indus Valley civilization from around 7000 BC. However, it was only after 5000 BC that description relates to tooth decay and dentistry started appearing in one of the most Sumerian texts. Dental decay is said to have caused by tooth worms. The idea wasn't ruled out or proven untrue until the 1700s. So popular ancient physicians and philosophers like Hippocrates and Aristotle wrote about dentistry. Their writing mostly entailed details of the treatment of tooth decay, but only after 1530, the inaugural book on dentistry published. The book was titled The Little Medicinal Book for All Kinds of Diseases and Infirmities of the Teeth. Dentistry became a more defined profession by 1700s. In 1723. A French surgeon called Pierre Pocher was honored and also accredited as the father of modern dentistry. The Surgeon Dentist, a treatise on teeth, is a quite influential book written by him in which he extensively explained the comprehensive system that was used for taking care of one's teeth and also getting them treated when necessary. I Love My Dentist Day was created in the US to show appreciation for dentists. It's a health day targeted towards bringing attention to the improvement of dental health and hygiene. As per reports in most industrial countries, one of the most frequent infectious diseases is dental cavities. As much as 95% of the people may knowingly or unknowingly be suffering from a dental problem. Today is also commemorated as National Rock Road Day on June 2nd in US, which is celebrated with great joy and fervor. This commemorates the iconic flavor of the ice cream and dessert. Funny enough, this flavor is sold not just in US and Australia, but also countries like India, China, Japan, South Africa, and many others. The Rocky Road dessert was first created in Australia in the year 1853. Many entrepreneurs took these confectionery items, which got spoiled due to the long journey coming from Europe, and mixed them with very cleverly with nuts that were locally available. Also, they added some quality chocolate and then tried to recover them instead of throwing them out. It was actually ingenious. The name was used as a reference to the rocky road that travelers used in order to access the gold fields. Since the desert sort of had the look of a rather bumpy road filled with rocks and pathos, the name struck. Years after that, the desert was turned into an ice cream, the Rocky Road ice cream. It was invented by William Dreyer in Oakland. In 1929, he made an ice cream that comprised of the same constituents as the original dessert. It was created in order to lift the spirits of people who were badly affected by the crash of Wall Street and subsequent Great Depression in the 1930s. The name of the ice cream was given to put a smile on people's faces. The tagline used for this treat at the time was a share a scoop, share a smile. George Farron also claimed that he created the Rocky Road ice cream. It said that he didn't do much and just blended a candy bar and chocolate ice cream together in a mixer, which went on to create creamy dessert flavor. Today is also commemorated as Platinum Jubilee Bank Holiday in UK, which is a weekend celebration from 2nd to June 5th, 2020, 2025. The weekend is part of the Queen Elizabeth Platinum Jubilee celebrations that are taking place throughout the UK, the realms, and the Commonwealth. She is the brightest, longest reigning monarch. Festivities include the Platinum Pudding Competition, the Big Jubilee Lunch, and the Queen's Birthday Parade, well known as the Trooping the Colour, where 1,400 soldiers, 200 horses, and 400 musicians will parade through the streets and a service of thanksgiving. Today is also commemorated as Republic Day in Italy. Italian Republic Day, also widely known as Festa della Repubblica, for Italians is nationally celebrated in Italy on June 2nd every year. The historical commemorates the institutional referendum of 1946 when Italians were called to take a vote and decide to form of their government after the World War II. With a flood of votes, they chose to be a republic with a constituent assembly and sent the kingdom to exile. So on this day, massive celebration took place in the city of Rome to celebrate the creation of Italian Republic. It all began after the fall of the fascist regime in Italy, supported by the House of Savoy. For more than 20 years, the House of Savoy was a royal dynasty established in 1003, which gradually grew from a family in power to massive kingdom with absolute rule. Following the fall and end of the World War II, a referendum was announced by universal suffrage in 1946 to be held on June 2nd and 3rd. The Italian public gathered to vote for their form of government for either a monarchy or a republic. On June 10th, it was revealed that 45% of voters had chosen the monarchy, where 54% of Italians wanted a republic. The results were clear. Italians ushered in a new chapter of freedom as declared by the Court of Secession and exiled the male members of the royal family. The House of Savoy, the country adopted a new constitution on January 1st, 1948, making Italy a unitary parliamentary republic with a permanent ban on the monarchy to ever rule the country again. Today is also commemorated as Western Australia Day on June 2nd. In Australia, Western Australian Day celebrates the day British Captain Charles Fremantle claimed Western Australia for the British in 1829, setting up the Swan River Colony. While the day was originally called Foundation Day, it has been since renamed to include all Western Australians, including Aboriginal communities It takes place on first Monday in June, falling on June 2nd this year. So WA Day is marked by free festivals across Australia, including Mandurah, Bunbury, Albina, Kalgoorlie, Boulder, Geraldton, Onslow, Newman, and Port Health. The highlight of WA Day is Western Australia of the Year awards. Folks nearby can purchase tickets to the gala dinner, while others can stream the event. SOTA is a live music festival held in Elizabeth Way to celebrate WA Day, which features everything from alt rock to acid hip hop. Today is also commemorated as Isabel Province Day in Solomon Islands, which is celebrated on June 2nd this year. If the date falls on Sunday, the public holiday is held on the following Monday. So the Isabel province, located in Oceania, is a province of Solomon Islands with a population of about 35,000 people. The capital of Isabel province is Guala on Santa Isabel Island. Isabel province doesn't get a lot of visitors by tourists due to lack of proper infrastructures such as roads, bridges, modern medical care, and hostels and hotels. Isabel province Day is a day to celebrate Isabel province and bring more awareness about the province and its citizens to the world. On February 7, 1568, Spanish explorer Alvaro de Menedera became the first European to land in the Solomon Islands archipelago and Isabel province. It was then charted as Santa Isabel de la Estrella, meaning Saint Elizabeth of the Star of Bethlehem. A settlement was then established by Spaniards and then moved on to building a boat to survey and chart the surrounding sea area islands. The North Solomon Islands came under the protection of Germany in April 1885, and that included Isabel province. The Treaty of Berlin was then signed in 1899 as Germany transferred most parts of the Northern Solomon Islands, including Isabel province, to the British Solomon Islands. Proctorate in exchange to the British, giving up claims to Samoa. Today is also commemorated as June Bank Holiday in Ireland, which is celebrated on the first Monday in June, was formerly commemorated with a separate holiday known as Whit Monday, also referred to as Pentecost Monday, falls on June 2nd. Whit Monday is a holiday observed the day after Pentecost. Sunday is also known as Whit Sunday. Pentecost commemorates the time when the Holy Spirit descended on Christ's disciples, marking the end of the Easter season. Whit Monday became a public holiday in Ireland while it was still part of the UK. Northern Ireland is the last remaining part of the UK. Because Easter is religious day, the Irish have historically commemorated with religious activities in previous years. So with this, we shall end today's commemorations. Thank you everyone for joining us today. See you all tomorrow at the same time with the same joining link. Before leaving, we request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form, which has been raised in the form of polls. So see you all tomorrow at the same time. Take care. Good night.